Nope, there's a presentation. Don't scare me. Yeah, don't you scare me like that. All right. Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. If you'd please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Sean, will you please call roll?
Deputy Mayor Baggett.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember DeCoursey.
Here.
Councilmember Pelosa.
Here.
Councilmember Holman.
Here.
Councilmember Trott-Manuel.
Here.
Councilmember Wells.
Here.
All right, we will begin this evening with a presentation, and the presentation is on Yes Vets. And I believe our Human Resources Director, Candace Martinson, is going to kick us off.
Thank you, Mayor. So during the month of November, Veterans Day recognizes military veterans that have served in the United States Armed Forces. So we would like to recognize the 53 veterans that work for the City of Auburn and also a member of our City Council for their military service. And so for this evening, we have invited Cliff Gaucher. He is the Supervisor for Transitional Programs and Initiatives for WorkSource Auburn, and Kimberly Tickner, who's the WorkSource Center Auburn Administrator for the Employment Security Department. And this group, Yes Vets, would like to recognize the City of Auburn as an employer who is committed to veteran employment. Yes Vets is a group through the Employment Security Department in partnership with Washington Department of Veterans Affairs, Department of Commerce, Washington State Military Transition Council, Washington State Society for Human Resources Management, and local chambers of commerce across the state. And those groups have partnered to create a statewide campaign to hire veterans, supporting House Bill 2040. And this bill recognizes employers who show their commitment to veteran employment by hiring veterans into the workforce. So I would like to turn this over now to our friends. Thanks.
Thank you, Candace.
Your Honor, if you could come down for a second. On behalf of the Yes Vets community, I want to thank you and welcome the Auburn team to the Yes Vets community, which is a nationally recognized community, and gives vets the opportunities, understanding that the Auburn City Hall is now a vet-friendly employer. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And you get some stickies for you.
Stickies for our windows, too. Yes, Vets.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, we are proud to be considered a Yes Vets organization, and as Candace said, we have 53 employees who have acknowledged that they are veterans, and that equates to just a little over 12% of our full-time employee population. So we're very proud of that. We can always seek to do better, but we are very, very proud to hire a well-trained and that has a great work ethic employees within our city. So thank you both so much.
Thank you
Really
so much for your
appreciate it.
time.
Thank you. And if you would like to go forward and accept the appreciation of council for the work that you do on behalf of vets.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation.
All right, so we have 3 different proclamations tonight. The first one is for our tree board, and Bryce Landred, who is the chair of the tree board, is unable to attend tonight. So Daryl, I'm going to ask you to come and receive the proclamation, if you will. All All right. Oh, you have photos of the tree, too.
I'll give them for you to look at.
Okay, great. All right. Whereas the City of Auburn has been designated a tree city by the Washington State Department of Natural Resources, sponsored by the National Arbor Day Foundation, in cooperation with the National Association of State Foresters, USDA Forest Service, U.S. Conference of Mayors, and National League of Cities. And whereas the City Council of the City of Auburn established an urban tree board to assist the City Council in promoting the preservation and beautification of trees in the city. And whereas it is in the public interest to preserve significant trees for the purpose of climate modification, enhancing wildlife habitat, improving air quality, reducing soil erosion, and beautification of the city. And whereas Comprehensive Plan Policy EN 27 states that the city shall seek to protect any unique, rare, or endangered species of plants found within the city. And whereas a role of the Urban Tree Board is to nominate tree stewards for their community service of preserving unique trees within the City of Auburn. Now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of the City of Auburn, do hereby declare the Auburn Parks Department 2018 Tree Steward for preserving and caring for the Chinese Empress tree located at Veterans Memorial Park, 405 E Street Northeast in Auburn, and declaring a significant tree, dated this 5th day of November 2018.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and
Yeah.
thank you for the Parks Department and the City of Auburn for
Yeah.
saving that tree.
Well, I was going to mention that annually we have a heritage tree, and this Empress happens to be at Veterans Park, which is a great place this week to be recognized. And over the years, we've recognized whether it's a tree at maybe a dental clinic or a house of worship or a school. So if you know of a significant tree in the Auburn community that you would like to have nominated, it doesn't put any restrictions on that tree or what you can do with the tree, but we like to recognize outstanding trees that make our community a great place. So it's great to be recognized this year as a Parks Department. We're kind of in the tree business.
Yes, you are.
And saving trees is our business. So
Yes.
this is a great tree. I have a picture of it that I can hand out.
Please do.
And you guys will recognize it, although if you're at the park on Veterans on this Saturday, it won't look anything like this picture because the leaves are now down. Thank you.
And being picked up by
And
the Parks
I
Department.
bet they're already
I
up.
bet they are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl.
We have a couple of trees on the golf course I'd like to talk to you about.
Was it your balls?
Just because you keep hitting those trees on the golf course, Deputy Mayor, doesn't mean that
Already been there.
those are trees of significance. All right, next on our agenda is the proclamation for GIS Day, and Ashley Riggs, the Assistant IT Director, is going to join me. Would you like to come up too?
He's already said no.
He's already said no. All right. All right, maybe next year. All right, so whereas Geographic Information Systems, GIS Day, is a day devoted to the users of geographic information systems and dedicated to demonstrating real-world applications that are making a difference in our community. And whereas the first formal GIS Day took place in 1999 and was inspired by Ralph Nader. He considered GIS Day a good initiative for people to learn about geography and the uses of GIS. And whereas the City of Auburn has implemented a highly successful enterprise-wide GIS in support of its goals, initiatives, and programs. And whereas the city's GIS has provided significant benefits to the staff, the community, and our partner agencies. And whereas the city's GIS technology and staff continue to create efficiencies and value for not only city staff, but for city applications, data, and ultimately the citizens of Auburn. And now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of Auburn, do hereby proclaim November 14th, 2018 as GIS Day in the City of Auburn and invite the community to learn more about the benefits of GIS in their daily lives and to participate in the city-hosted event. Dated this 5th day of November 2018. Ashley, I am going to present this to you, and I'm sure you have a few words you'd like to say.
Just something quick. So thank you to you. And as you guys know, GIS Day is an international event, so this is not just an Auburn thing. This is around the world. And it's pretty cool to celebrate the GIS professionals that we have around the world, especially here in Auburn, and really to build awareness about GIS. I think that's one of the biggest things about this day is to build the awareness of it. I'm really proud of what our staff have accomplished and what this program is because of the value that it brings to the city. And thank you for your guys' continued support, and invite you guys to come out on our GIS Day on November 14th.
And what's going to happen on November 14th?
So November 14th, we're going to celebrate staff, but we're also going to turn it into a training event for the entire city to learn about specific applications that they use within GIS.
Very cool. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And if you would go forward and accept the appreciation of council, please. All right, and our final proclamation this evening is for Filipino and American World War II Veterans Recognition Day. And I believe we have Mr. Ronaldo Pasqua and representatives of the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project Region 8.
Yeah.
Good evening, nice to see you again. Thank you for coming back.
I'm just going to show this around. This is show and tell time. This is one of the medals. Oh, thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Whereas Filipinos have been in the continental United States for 431 years and have contributed to the cultural, economic, social, and political life of the state of Washington, the Pacific Northwest, and the entire country. And whereas the City of Auburn has previously adopted a proclamation which recognized October as Filipino American History Month, and whereas the United States Congress in 2016 passed the Filipino Veterans of World War II Congressional Gold Medal Act of 2015, now enshrined as Public Law 114-265. And whereas on October 25th, 2017, the United States Congress, for the first time, nationally recognized the service and sacrifices of Filipino and American veterans of World War II who fought under United States Armed Forces in the Far East by awarding of the United States Congressional Gold Medal to the veterans or their surviving families. And whereas the Congressional Gold Medal is one of the highest civilian awards bestowed by the United States and represents a public expression of the nation's gratitude for the distinguished contributions of 260,000 Filipino soldiers and guerrillas during World War II in the Philippines. And whereas the recognition of these Filipino and American heroes continues, defined by the national work of the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project, locally by PhilVetRep, Region 8, Pacific Northwest states, and other civic Filipino and veterans organizations in awarding the Congressional Gold Medal replicas to eligible veterans. And whereas the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project Region 8 awarded gold medal replicas in 4 ceremonies since October 2017. And now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of Auburn, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2018 as United States Congressional Gold Medal for Filipino and American World War II Veterans Recognition Day in the City of Auburn, and encourage all residents of Auburn to join in celebrating these American heroes on this joyous and solemn occasion, dated this 5th day of November, 2018. Mr. Pasqua, let me present those copies to you, and I'm sure you have a few words you would like to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Backus, and thank you, City of Auburn, for this wonderful proclamation. I've come before you several other times, and this is the most pinnacle of the proclamations that the city has done. That medal that you just saw was awarded to Arthur Anderson. He was a seaman of the U.S. Coast Guard during World War II, and he was given the award, the medal at our Wapato ceremony on April 28th. This has been a 4-year effort to give Filipino and American veterans the United States Congressional Gold Medal. And finally, in December of 2016, the United States Congress did pass the bill, Public Law 114. And when I came here on October 29th, I gave Mayor Backus a copy of both the Public Law 114-265 and also a copy of Governor Inslee's proclamation declaring April as the Congressional Gold Medal Day in Washington State. I just wanted to say that as Auburn is a historical city for Filipino Americans, and all 6 other cities in Washington State and 3 counties have done similar proclamations to honor Filipino and American veterans who fought in the Far East during World War II. 260,000 Filipinos fought in World War II under the United States flag. At that time, the Philippine population was a little over 17 million, and 1 million Filipinos died defending their country. So we are very proud Americans. The United States, was the Philippines was a colony of the United States. And finally, you're doing this coincidentally with this year's Veterans Day, and so that is so wonderful. That makes us very proud. Veterans Day is November 11th. The Seattle City Council is going to do their proclamation on Tuesday, November 13th, and the Seahawks are going to honor the World War II veterans on that Thursday night game on April 15th. So the living veterans who will be able to make that game will get to go out on the clink at halftime of the Thursday night game. So be looking forward to that, and thank you again, Auburn.
Thank you, Mr. Pascal. If you would go forward and accept the appreciation of council.
Thank you very much.
See you again. A better outcome.
All right, we will move on. We have no appointments this evening. Do we have any agenda modifications, Sean? No, Your Honor. All right, we will move to public hearings. We have a public hearing on the 2019-2020 preliminary biennial budget. City Council to conduct a public hearing to receive public comments, proposals, and suggestions on the 2019-2020 preliminary biennial budget. And I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak on the 2019-2020 preliminary biennial budget? Is there anyone that would like to speak? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing on the 2019-2020 preliminary biennial budget. Next is a public hearing for the 2019-2024 Transportation Improvement Plan modification. City Council to conduct a public hearing to receive public comments and suggestions regarding the 2019-2024 six-year Transportation Improvement Program, Resolution number 5386. We will open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the 2019-2024 Transportation Improvement Plan modification? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And we will move on to public hearing number 3, public hearing for the 2019 Community Development Block Grant CDBG Annual Action Plan. City Council to conduct a public hearing to receive public comments and suggestions with regards to the 2019 Annual Action Plan as required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Right, we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan? Anyone at all? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and we will move on to audience participation. This is the place on the agenda where the public is invited to speak to the City Council on any issue. Those wishing to speak are reminded to sign in on the form that's provided, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Is there anyone that would like to speak?
Yeah, my name is Bob Zimmerman. I'm from 33029 46th Place South in Auburn. I'd like to speak about code issues that have been unresolved. About a year ago, the mayor's position was that all the deficiencies and stuff should be corrected, and since that time there has been no corrections done, any improvements made. So I suppose that little quote I've seen a few times in the weekly update that says actions speak louder than words is probably true. There's been no official announcement, but that pretty well speaks for itself. About that time, there was a meeting with the mayor and the staff from the building department and stuff, and the then director, Mr. Snyder, finally admitted after 7 years that building code and seismic standards did apply to walls that were 6 feet tall, made out of concrete. And of course, when he finally made that admission, he retorted back that, but it's too late to do anything about it. Well, isn't that really something? Here you've maintained that we're going to break the law now for 7 years, and now we have successfully succeeded in making that a permanent violation in the city of Auburn. Now that's a real signature moment for the department, isn't it? Now a little bit later in the year, I was at Civics Academy, and during the presentation by the planning and building, why Mr. Tate was there, and he was telling us that that Auburn is one of the most accommodating, or is the most accommodating probably, I can't remember for sure which, but anyway, departments in the area. And of course at that time I was trying to figure out, you know, something to do about this propane pooling on the ground violation there on behind the wall, and so I was a little bit skeptical about this most accommodating city, you know, because of what I had experienced and the concerns I was raising that nobody seemed to know anything about. So a year later, all I can say is that I hope that Auburn is the most accommodating city on code violations and everything that these people are doing, because I would hate to see anybody else in the Puget Sound region have to tolerate this kind of nonsense. I only have 8 seconds left, so I will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Is anyone? Please come forward, give your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Waylon Menzia, 719 R Street Northeast. I was coming because I'm trying to get more involved with my community, and I'm really interested in like city government. It's one of my interests. And I was coming to say thanks to the city council and the mayor for all the hard work they do, because this is one of the best communities I've been in, because I used to live up on Whidbey Island, and I've lived in Monroe, and I've also lived in Kent. And this is the best so far. And I recently applied for the Auburn Junior City Council, and I'm just waiting to hear back on that because I'm really excited about that. And I was coming to observe today because it interests me. Thank you.
Thank you, Waylon, and we appreciate you coming in and wanting to be involved in your community. And we are working on those junior city council applications and getting more. I spoke with the superintendent, Dr. Spiciotti, about getting all of the schools involved so that they are encouraging applications so that we can have a very robust junior city council. So thank you very much for your interest, and thank you for the kind words. All right, is there anyone else that would like to speak? Hearing none. Please come forward, give your name and address for the record.
Virginia Haugen, 2503 R Street, Southeast Auburn. You go. Why'd I come here? Because I hadn't been here in quite a while, and I said, well, I'll go down to City Hall and see if all the council members are in their places. here we are.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Final time. Anyone else like to speak? All right, we will move on to the Council Ad Hoc Committee reports. Council Ad Hoc Committee chairs may report on the status of their ad hoc council committee's progress on assigned tasks and may give their recommendation to the City Council, if any. And we will begin with Councilmember Brown for Finance.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee reviewed 281 claim vouchers and 7 wire transfers from the voucher report dated 11/5/2018 for a total amount of $3,011,000. Among the many bills was an interesting claim for $115 to reimburse the police department for K9 Jack's medication. That is obvious proof that our city cares for the health of our four-legged officers as well. All claims were reviewed and were reasonable and in good order. Payroll vouchers from 10/11/2018 to 10/31/2018 were reviewed. There were 19 checks, 541 direct deposits, and 7 associated electronic funds transfers for tax, retirement, etc. The total for the payroll expenditure was $2,411,000. The Finance Committee does recommend approval.
Thank you. And also for our Roads Ad Hoc Committee, Councilmember DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. We made our presentation last Monday at the study session, and we have concluded our first phase of the committee's task. And as Councilmember Pelosi suggested, we will probably be looking at another round as we go through the Transportation Benefit Board meetings next year and other revenue source meetings as we get ready to look at that. And then we'll reconvene and make some other recommendations.
Okay, so my understanding at the study session was that that was the end of that committee.
End of that committee,
Okay,
yes.
and then there will be a new ad hoc committee that will convene after
That's
the
correct.
beginning of the new year. Okay.
That's correct.
Just wanted to make sure that
That's
we had that
correct.
straight. Great, thank you. All right, we will move on to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered by the City Council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Do we have a motion? Deputy Mayor Baggett.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Councilmember Brown.
Second, Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Baggett.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 6 items on the consent agenda tonight, and I'll go over them briefly. We have the minutes of the October 24th, 2016, November 28th, 2016, January 23rd, 2017, January 30th, 2017, and October 8th, 2018 study sessions. We have the minutes of the October 15th, 2018 regular council meeting, the claims and payroll vouchers noted by Councilmember Brown, and the 5th item is the Parks Project CP 1820, which is for a small works contract to replace the picnic shelter over at Isaac Evans Park.
Yes. Long time coming.
You bet. And the last item is the Public Works Project CP 1709, which is the City Council to award a contract to a specific company on their low bid for the reservoir number 1 seismic control valve.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councilmember Plaza.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to thank the clerk's office for getting those minutes out. And is that taking our backlog down quite a bit then?
So we still have some to go, but it is definitely making
Yeah,
strides
that was-
on getting those.
And then item E is an easy.
That was not an easy project, Councilmember Pelosi.
What, the replacing the picnic shelter?
Right.
No, I understand that. I wanted to ask you, Daryl, it says that it's been approved, the design has been approved. Is there, from that design, is there a rendering that the council could see?
Yeah, I could forward to you the drawing of it. It's a bid document drawing. It's exactly like the one that was there before, except it was raised up about 2 feet, so it didn't feel so enclosed. But we matched the same design, which matches the restroom there. So it basically looks like the last one, only a little higher and a little nicer.
And we couldn't increase the footprint because of its location
Right,
along the
within
riverbank.
200 feet of the shoreline, so we had to stay on the same foundation. So it's in the same location with the same design.
Because I get comments from residents about that.
Yeah.
So that's good information.
I can send you the bid cover sheet.
Okay. And then Mayor, I have one other item.
Uh-huh.
And that's item F as in Frank. This is the seismic control valve for reservoir number 1. And I was trying to, and it's dealing with the funding. If I can find the page. I'll pass right now.
Okay. Councilmember Trot Manuel, you had a question?
Yes, on E again, as Mr. Faber knows, I've been always asking about this, and I am so glad to see that they finally have come through with a bid. And when will this project start
It should start in probably 2 weeks.
and complete it?
Weather dependent, I'd give them 3 months.
All right. Well, thank you for.
Definitely
everything that-
before the next picnic season.
Thank you, because
You're
as
welcome.
Mr. Pelosi said, I've been getting a lot of inquiries about it.
Yeah.
And so I'm so happy to see that it's finally come to head. Thank you.
Councilmember Pelosi.
I'm back on track. The project is funded through federal FEMA and state military grants, which have firm funding deadlines. But when you look at, and I'm on, that's page 52, Council, if you want to follow. Page 54 is the budget status sheet. But looking at the funding, it calls out hazard mitigation grant. So how does that break? And then there, of course, is City 460 fund. So how's that broken out? I'm trying to tie in FEMA and military grants.
Sure.
Ingrid?
So the hazard mitigation grant is made up of the FEMA and the military grants. So the grant program is the hazard mitigation. So you're trying to mitigate for potential hazards from natural disaster type situations, which is what the seismic control valve does. So it basically shuts off the water from being able to leak out of the reservoir in the case of an earthquake.
Yeah, so you said it includes FEMA and military grants.
Correct.
Combination.
With a combination of those funds make
Okay.
up the hazard mitigation grant program.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Passes. All right, we have no unfinished business, no new business, so we will move to ordinances. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 6692, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, related to business licenses, amending definitions, and amending Chapter 5.10 of the Auburn City Code.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Councilmember?
We can barely hear you.
I will speak up.
Thank you.
Councilmember Holman.
Move to adopt ordinance number 6692.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Deputy Mayor Baggett.
Second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Holman.
The state legislature in 2017 changed the way in which cities have to administer their business license to enhance the business climate in Washington state. And Auburn must modify its business license regulation for the purpose of creating a uniform definition of what it means to engage in business in Washington State in order to comply. And this ordinance will put us in compliance.
Thank you. All right, are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of ordinance number 6692, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Passes.
Ordinance number 6696, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, related to infrastructure payback agreements, amending Chapter 3.25 of the Auburn City Code.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Councilmember DeCoursey.
I move to adopt ordinance number 6696.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. Washington state law allows developers or property owners to seek reimbursement from other property owners who connect to public streets utilities that that particular property owner or applicant has constructed as part of their property development. This ordinance allows for a payback agreement that provides a mechanism for the city to collect reimbursement from the benefited parties as a condition of service and to provide the reimbursement to the applicant. This ordinance modifies the Auburn City Code 3.25 to provide better notification to benefited property owners by initiating the payback agreement process before construction begins. And this also modernizes the language of the code and authorizes the city to deduct a payment processing fee from each reimbursement that the city collects during the administration of this agreement.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of ordinance number 6696, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Passes.
Ordinance number 6697, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, related to criminal offenses, amending Section 9.22.010 of the Auburn City Code.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Councilmember Pelosa?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt ordinance 6697.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Holman?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Pelosa?
Yes, this ordinance amends in part Auburn City Code related to controlled substances. Auburn City Code related to controlled substances. That's twice I said that.
Yes, it is.
However, those amendments did not include language that reflected the permissible possession of marijuana under state chapters of the revised Code of Washington.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of ordinance number 6697, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Passes.
Resolution number 5386, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, adopting the 2019-2024 six-year transportation improvement program of the City of Auburn pursuant to Chapter 35.77 of the revised Code of Washington.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Councilmember DeCoursey?
I move to adopt resolution 5386.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Councilmember Brown?
Second, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember DeCoursey?
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution adopts the modification to the 2019-2024 Transportation Improvement Program. And this particular modification provides for a new project under what's titled I-15, which designates and constructs a new traffic signal at the 10th Street Northwest intersection with B Street Northwest. Currently, this intersection has a standard that falls below the adopted standard for this intersection, so signaling for this is appropriate improvement for addressing these issues.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution number 5386, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Passes.
Resolution number 5387, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, authorizing the mayor to execute a real estate easement agreement between the City of Auburn and Puget Sound Energy for conveyance of a utility easement.
Thank you. I believe we have a staff presentation tonight. Josh, don't look around like somebody else. It's you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Puget Sound Energy approached the city not long ago in looking to replace a portion of their facilities that transmitted gas to the back of the Safeway building. Further, in looking at it, a portion of their facilities were not covered by an easement. And so in looking at that location of the facility that wasn't covered by easement kind of ran in a rather large part of the city's parcel. So I was able to work with Puget Sound Energy to determine an alternate pathway that was, which is the easement that you see here, that basically moved their facility. It still allowed the facilities to be upgraded that PSC was looking for. That would also then allow them to upgrade the facilities, the gas facilities to the Safeway building, but wasn't cutting through a rather large chunk of the city's parcel, essentially making it easier for any future development that the city might look to for that particular parcel.
Any questions for Josh? Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a motion? Councilmember DeCoursey.
I move to adopt Resolution 5387.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Second that?
Thank you. Councilmember DeCoursey.
I think Josh explained it very well, and this resolution allows the mayor to execute the real estate agreement between the City of Auburn and Puget Sound Energy.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor of resolution number 5387, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. Passes. All right, we will move on to mayor and council member reports. At this time, the mayor and city council may report on significant items associated with their appointed positions on federal, state, regional, and local organizations, and we will begin with Deputy Mayor Baggett.
Thank you, Your Honor. On Friday, November 2nd at 0:30, that's 6:30 a.m. to you lay folks, my wife Patty and I joined our mayor Nancy, council member Bill Pelosa and his lovely wife Joyce, council member John Holman, our city directors, and our ever-diligent city staff members to join with several hundred businesses, service organizations, nonprofits, and our ever-civic-minded and benevolent Auburn residents to kick off the 25th Annual Harvest Breakfast and fundraiser supporting the Auburn Food Bank. This was all accomplished over at the Grace Community Church. The annual competition that ensued as a result of this, the beginning of this breakfast, was challenging our many different Auburn schools in our area to see how many pounds of food and cash donations could be gathered. It's a very special event and sets up a little bit of camaraderie and competition between the schools. And this includes all of the schools, elementary all the way up into high school. Some of the winners this year were Olympic Middle School with 4,200 pounds, Auburn High School with 7,400 pounds, and Lakeland Hills Elementary School with a whopping 19,000 pounds. Way to go, kids. That's all I can say. A very touching and humbling speech from Debbie Christian, Executive Director of the Auburn Food Bank, touched everyone's hearts as the event came to a close. And to see more of this event, if you're interested in the details, you might see the Mayor Nancy's latest Auburn update this week. We also had, on Saturday, November 3rd, our Mayor's Blue Ribbon Committee for the Healthiest City 2020 hosted the Micronesia Pacific Islander Cultural Celebration event at the Mount Baker Middle School here in Auburn, with hundreds of our neighbors and families in attendance. The Micronesia Islanders represent the islands of Guam, Palau, and the Marshall Island Group. Several community health organizations, doctors, service organizations, cultural representatives with their arts and crafts, King County Public Health, King County Library, and health insurance providers were all very well represented, including our own Auburn Noon Lions, who were performing sight and hearing testing of the Micronesia families, including both children and adults. The largest group of cultural residents in attendance appeared to be those signing up for health insurance, which is a very good thing. Many thanks to Pat Bailey of our staff over here, for the mayor's staff, for organizing this event, and she worked very tirelessly the entire day to make it a great success. Who knows, this may become an annual cultural event here in Auburn. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will move on to Councilmember DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. On Wednesday, October 17th, along with Joe Welsh, our transportation planner, I attended the monthly regional King County Regional Transit Committee meeting. This meeting was held at a workshop setting this time, which gave us more opportunity to allow city staff to be involved in the discussions as we go forward with some of the initiatives related to King County Metro. The two significant issues related to this was a proposed motion to accept the King County Metro Transit 2017 Strategic Plan Progress Report. This report contains 66 separate measures with a total of 8 different goals. And as an example, this measures various elements of the success or failures of the Metro program. And part of this report indicated that in 2016, Metro achieved a new high of over 122 million trips. So they're very busy in the region. This plan also indicated that Metro's looking at, again, adding more hours of service. There's a lot of issues related to Link Light Rail, replacing many bus passengers, and between Link Light Rail and Metro, they're going to be working closely together to provide better services overall. The second item on this was looking at the impact of the new tunnel downtown Seattle and the new feature elimination of the viaduct, which is coming very, very soon. And it's being called the period of maximum constraint. So we're seeing a process where there's going to be high impacts for commuters for a fairly long period of time related to downtown traffic. It's also compounded by ongoing construction at the convention center. So there's going to be high impacts for quite a period of time as the viaduct closes, as the convention center construction continues on, and as we see some transitioning in downtown Seattle. So commuters from all around the region, including Auburn, will be impacted. And one of my comments at the meeting was that if businesses are having difficulty in Seattle, they might want to move to Auburn.
There you go. Nicely done. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report that on Wednesday, October 30th, Auburn Police Chief Pearson arranged for me to participate in a civilian ride-along. Chief Pearson had lined up an evening with Officer McNabb, a veteran officer whom I had just met previously at Auburn's National Night Out. I was given a thorough tour of the police headquarters. It was very impressive to see the efficient use of very constrained space at the police station. We went out to the police parking lot, and Officer McNabb gave me a comprehensive safety briefing prior to departure. When we left, Officer McNabb took me to his area of patrol. I think it's called District 5. Among the issues we dealt with that night was an adult male who was sleeping out in front of a retail business. We arrived and rendered assistance to this gentleman, and he was able to move along and take care of his business. Then at a minor auto collision, checked in with both the 2 victims in the accident. The fire department was there taking care of it. Then lastly, while we went to visit a home, a welfare check for a 911 call and hang up. That's something that the police department does when a 911 call comes in and then gets hung up without resolving the issue. They go and check and make sure everybody's okay. Lastly, we pulled over a car driving without headlights, which was difficult because it was nighttime. The car had expired tabs and the driver had a suspended license. So the person probably shouldn't have left the driveway. In all, Officer McNabb's actions that he displayed a great deal of professionalism and a calm temperament that I think we would all appreciate for our police officers. I would also report that the Martin Luther King County Labor Council has formulated a Veterans Caucus, and that the Machinists Union now has a Veterans Committee, and both will be participating in our city's Veterans Day Parade and recognition. And I'm just so happy that these union members, myself included, are able to express both our pride in our military service as well as pride in our labor movement and our labor unions. So we're very much looking forward to that and thank the city for the work of setting all that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Holman.
Thank you, Mayor. Last Thursday, November 1st, I attended the Puget Sound Regional Council's Growth Management Policy Board. One of the items that was approved was the Regional Growth Center plan submitted by Tacoma for the Tacoma Mall sub-area, and we approved it for addition to the current Vision 2040 plan. It'll accommodate affordable and market rate housing along with major retail in the area of the Tacoma Mall. Tacoma City Council was very proud of the work that went into this sub-area plan. Additionally, as pertains to Vision 2050, which we're working on right now, the new vision statement from the Growth Management Policy Board, we approved action to proceed with the environmental review for Vision 2050. And we were also updated on the sections of Vision 2050 pertaining to economy, public services, and equity chapters. On Friday, November 2nd, I got notified, I got a phone call from the National League of Cities. And I was notified that an article I wrote on first-tier suburbs would be appearing in the November 14th issue of the National League of Cities national blog and webpage. Auburn gets favorable coverage in the article, and I'd like to thank Auburn's communications coordinator, Kaylin Brady, for editing my article before submission. I'm sure that had quite a bit to do with why it was accepted. Then jump up to the future. This coming Saturday, September 10th, we have November 10th, sorry. I am kind of, two important birthdays coming up. On Saturday, November 10th, is the 53rd annual Veterans Day Parade in Auburn. 53 years. But also, and even older, Saturday, November 10th, is the 242nd birthday of the United States Marine Corps. Just thought I'd throw that out.
Right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Wales.
On September 27th, Kiwanis had its one day of service. I want to thank Daryl and his staff and code enforcement staff for working with me to come up with a project. You graciously allowed us to spread 300 tons of wood chips at the meditation portion of the Veterans Park over there in preparation for the parade that's coming up. So when you're over there and you see this, it's not really beauty bark, it's really mulch. I want you to know that 10 Kiwanians got up at 8 in the morning and 15 Key Club kids from Auburn Riverside, one of them as far away as China, who spoke no English, and at the end when it was time for her to go home, she didn't know how to get home, but she gave me her cell phone in Chinese, and I did get her home. But I want to thank the staff for allowing us to provide service and not always under the most ideal situations. But again, Jeff and Daryl, thank you very much for working with us, and we're hoping that we can adopt that and maybe do it every year in preparation for some of the veterans events. So thank you.
Councilmember Trout Manuel?
Yes. And Gerald, that was a lot of fun. I was one of the people that got
Councilmember, you
was asked to volunteer with my husband. We were up early, and it was a lot of fun raking all those leaves and making big piles. But those Keep Club kids were just awesome. They had wheelbarrows, and the girls were shoveling those chips, and they outdid the boys. They really did. They were stronger. They were able to handle those wheelbarrows, and the boys were tipping them, but it was a lot of fun. Thank you for allowing us to do that. That was a nice project. Also, on November 3rd, I also attended the event as our Deputy Mayor Baggett mentioned. And I had a really good time. The Deputy Mayor forgot to announce that I was there, so I went around introducing myself as Councilwoman Yolanda, and I learned a lot about all those individuals' culture. I talked to the chair and the vice chair, and they are so excited that the city extended that hand to meet them and to get them involved in our city. They've been waiting for someone to do that, and it was very, very well attended. It was nice to see that they had mother, dad, children, grandparents, and they were all taking advantage of all the different types of things that we had there. This is the first time that the Library of Auburn also has books published in their language for their children, and it was really nice to see the librarian have these books there, and the kids and the parents were there around the table looking at those books, so they're really excited about having them in their library. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Blue Ribbon. The Blue Ribbon was formed in 2015 by the mayor hiring Pat Bailey to take on this project. This project has extended to making a video called Ready. We patented it, and it has to do with knowing how to deal with people with mental illness. Now they have extended it to have youth learn how to deal with people with mental illness, and this is taking off pretty well. Another thing that we have done, I was ready to quit this committee because I didn't think it was going anywhere, but we are really starting to see some of the profit coming back, and especially hearing these people talking about being involved, Auburn, taking the time to do something for them. We have reached out, the Blue Ribbon has reached out to the Hispanic community. We've done first aid, CPR, and also English classes with them. So the Blue Ribbon has been doing a lot. So I just want to thank Pat. She's been doing a fabulous job reaching out to these different cultures. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pelosa.
Thank you, Mayor. On Friday, November 2nd, I attended the Green River College Scholarship Recognition Banquet. John Holman was there as well. He had a better seat than I had, but what the
You
heck.
were closer to the front.
What the
Hence why he
closer
said
to the
it.
food too, remember? Many students were awarded scholarships. The scholarships are proven to be a major milestone in the students' continued education. For example, the White River Valley, Auburn, BFW Post 1741, which I'm a member, provides three $1,500 annual awards. And how we make that money is 2 or 3 times a year, depending on where we are and the weather and all that stuff. We display our red poppies at the different stores in Auburn. And those funds that we collect go into this scholarship program that was generated back in 2010. So when you see a table of VFW guys with their covers on, all that money that's donated stays in the city of Auburn. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Pelosi. I'll start out with a reminder that next Tuesday, November 13th, because Monday the 12th is a holiday, next Tuesday, November 13th, our study session will begin at 7 p.m. That's to accommodate the fact that the Valley Regional Fire Authority Board of Governance regularly scheduled meeting begins at 5:45, and Councilmember Pelosi, DeCourcy, and myself are on that board, and so we wanted to try and make sure that we could attend both meetings. So just a reminder of that, and it will be published as well if it hasn't already gone out tomorrow. It will go out tomorrow. All right, a few items. On Saturday, October 20th, I was out at Regner Park early in the morning to help kick off the Back the Blue 5K run, and that organization provides financial and other types of support to the survivors of fallen police officers. And out there that morning, sponsoring the event was KVI, and Kirby Wilbur was out addressing the crowd and doing a great job of providing just how much we appreciate the support of our police officers and also the support of the organization Back the Blue that helps our fallen officers' families. I left that event to go to the Leadership Institute of South Puget Sound's 2018-2019 class kickoff. And as always, City of Auburn employees, we do pay for a few of them to attend this year-long class, or actually about a 10-month class. This year we have 8 City of Auburn employees that are attending Leadership Institute. Very proud of them for wanting to do work to learn more about the region, as well as to invest in themselves and learn their leadership styles and become even better leaders in our community. On Wednesday, October 24th, we had our Cities and Schools meeting, our quarterly meeting, and we have been working on the jobs initiative for Auburn, Algona Pacific, Green River College, and the Auburn School District. And that initiative kickoff we had in September, October. And while that initiative will be ongoing, we as Cities and Schools decided it was time to look at what is our next big thing that has an impact on all of our different agencies. And so that the next initiative is going to deal with inclusiveness. And as Councilmember Brown stated that night, that he has a yard sign, not a political yard sign, but a yard sign that says, "Love thy neighbor, no exceptions." And so that really struck a chord with many of the members in attendance. And so that will be the overarching theme of our next initiative on inclusiveness, and how do we bring that within our communities and not just say it, but prove it. So I am very excited about the work to come on that. On the, let's see, as Deputy Mayor Baggett mentioned, we did have the 25th Annual Harvest Breakfast for the Auburn Food Bank on Friday the 2nd. And many of you may have seen online social media or in the Auburn Reporter and other news agencies that the Auburn Food Bank had one of their vans stolen. I am extremely happy to say that that van was found today in the city of Kent. When it was stolen, it had a full tank of gas. but as it was recovered today, it still has a half a tank of gas, but it was filled with all different types of equipment, including hot dog cookers like you would see at a local convenience store and other items. So not quite sure what those who were utilizing the van had in mind, but we are very, very happy to find out that that van has been recovered. Tomorrow, we will be holding our Veterans Day Luncheon at the Senior Center to honor our seniors who are veterans of any of the wars or conflicts. If you are in the neighborhood or so inclined, we would love to have you join us. And not on a political note, but just a reminder that tomorrow is Election Day. If you have not utilized your privilege and your right to vote, I encourage you to fill out your ballot regardless of who you are selecting and either get it in the mail by tomorrow evening. There is no postage charged to you for putting that in the mail, or we do have 2 locations for ballot drop-off. One of them is at the King County Library on Auburn Way South. The other is at the Park and Ride on 15th Northeast. So with that, please remember to vote. It is important. And Mr. City Attorney, do we have need for an executive or closed session this evening? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Oh, we just, Holly got hers today in the mail. She's in Seattle.